People are talking about Jimin and Song potentially holding hands or doing something romantic. We have the VMAs speaking out about Jimin and people are upset about it. And then we have ICE called on TXT, which is extremely crazy. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Disci. Let's get into it. Someone allegedly called ICE on TXT, which is extremely crazy. TXT was doing a show in Atlanta, Georgia, and that is when someone decided to call immigration enforcement, and they essentially wanted Soobin specifically to get out of the country. It's important to note that the call allegedly wasn't for the entirety of the group, but it was just for Soobin, which tells me that it was not from fan wars from one community to another, but it was a fan war within the same community. People that are involved in the shipping community, or oftentimes the people that are involved in liking one member but not the others, these are the usual culprits for these extreme and wild situations. But to give a little bit of a backstory on why this was extremely upsetting to the community, just a little while ago in Georgia, over 300 South Korean workers were detained by immigration enforcement. This happened literally in early September, and many of those workers were there legally and had papers or were citizens, and they were detained anyway. So this made the community, or specific parts of the community that don't like Soobin, and specifically, I guess, use that moment to capitalize on furthering this fan war, I suppose. This of course makes the situation a little bit more dire, as since a lot of these people were detained for simply just being Korean, people think that it's definitely going to be more possible that any of the members of TXT or Soobin specifically can get in trouble or can stop by immigration. In an even worse case scenario, they will be detained entirely and have to cancel their show. These are all very valid concerns, and I understand completely why someone would be upset about this, and also why that person is being hated right now. So much so that the person who said that they did this no longer has their account anymore. I'm not defending this person by any means, but it's important to note that this situation would literally not be possible. Like, them being detained is not possible. I'm talking about 0% chance. You see how most random people can't just go up to the boys and talk to them? Yeah, neither can random police officers, especially ones that have ICE on them. The security or their manager, at the very least, is going to approach the ICE officer before they get anywhere near the boys, before the police officers would even be able to contact the boys. They would have to go through the manager would show the paperwork, and they would continue doing their show, and it would show that they're there to work. It literally wouldn't even be a situation that the boys would be aware of unless they went online and see the discourse happen. So silly things like that, I wouldn't even sweat it or give it another thought. I wouldn't even put any concern or weight on it, because unlike those poor 300 South Korean workers, they do not have security or a team to stop things like this from happening or to give answers to the police. So they would just be detained immediately. And it's not like ICE would raid a concert, I don't think. Like, they're not going to be that dumb if they find out that the person that they're supposed to be arresting is on stage at a venue of, 10,000 people or whatever. People are also talking about Jimin at the VMAs because he actually was nominated for an award specifically for the best K-pop record. This is, of course, for the song Who, which was a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit less than that. And the song has really developed this significant cult-like following just from that one song. I feel like essentially that song has been nominated for any possible award that is relevant to it, which is very cool. I mean, that song has a bunch of nominations from what I have seen. I don't know what's officially been recorded, but it seems like the song was doing really, really well. And even after a decent amount of time, it's still very relevant. Personally, I like Crazy, definitely one of my top favorites of all time. I wish that song was kind of taking the place of Who. That's just my opinion. I don't know if anyone else agrees with that. Who is still a very great song, right? But of course, we all have our favorites. So Jimin did not end up winning for that category, and I think that that was the only category he was nominated for, but it ended up going to Lisa from Blackpink. Now, from what I've seen, there was not this huge discourse online about Lisa winning, and while I think the community was largely upset, I didn't see too many people attacking her. Of course, there probably were, but a lot of people in the community were just really upset because they genuinely felt like they had a large chance at Who winning, with many people scheduling on their phones or their calendars to remind themselves to go online and vote. And they really did that every single day, with thousands and thousands of people doing it. And so a lot of people felt like Jimin was snubbed, with some people mentioning that the VMAs, or a lot of these types of award shows in general, pick their winners not always fully based on votes, but based on what a committee of people might choose. Now, I'll be very candid and I'll tell you from my experience with seeing stuff like this. This is an authentic experience that I'm giving, and this is not one that to attack fan culture. what fan culture is or what your favorite celebrity is, and if they're good enough or not or whatever. It's not to attack any of that stuff. I want to emphasize that like anyone supporting anyone, it's a beautiful thing, and that matters. That contribution that you have to your favorite celebrity matters. But at the end of the day, what ends up winning is songs that break out a specific bubble. So songs that have a little bit more impact outside of just a specific space. So when you look at Lisa's song and you look at the features on there, and those being pretty big Western stars, you start to notice that that's likely why they won, because those stars were able to bring that song to a different audience and space and cause impact over there. If you had to choose between Lisa and Jimin, both of whom had significant radio play here in the US for both of their songs, then what is left is the Western impact and what those Western artists would give. Given the fact that Jimin was in the military and Lisa was not, but also the fact that Lisa performed at the Oscars as well as performed at a TV show, White Lotus, these are things that matter. While these are not direct things that impact the music, because she did not perform the song at the Oscars, or this song at the Oscars, I don't think. She obviously didn't sing on the TV show either, but it matters because the VMAs recognize a name more. It's a similar process with the Grammys, right? While it is a popularity contest, but it's not just fan votes. The Grammys want to make sure that their song that's winning the award is one because people have heard it and has had a lot of cultural impact in the US. And they're also likely to pick someone that they know. Hence why you always see people like Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, and Beyonce essentially win everything. While new faces in the industry tend to struggle to get one. This doesn't mean that Jimin isn't going to win more in the future, because I believe when all of the BTS members make their comeback, they will have huge impact. But we will have to wait and see, and I'm very excited to see. Don't take this loss personally. Quite frankly, Jimin could have made the song even bigger if he had more time, right? So that's also okay, right? Because we are going to see the boys come back and it's going to be huge. So we're just going to have to wait for that. And if your biggest problem is Jimin not winning an award, then you are living a very blessed and comfortable life and you have nothing to worry about. Because one, you'll be fine, but also Jimin will win one soon. There's been a lot of conversation online about Jimin and Song again, with some people saying that it's quite clear that Jimin was trying to meet Song Daeun in the alleged elevator video. And that video that we saw where Jimin pops up at the elevator as the door open, people are going as far as to say that he showed up at her apartment or to sleep with her or whatever it was. What's interesting to me is seeing people who are talking about this, because it's clear they're just talking about it and feeding into the rumors rather than the fact that they actually believe that it is true. A lot of people in the shipping community, so let's say people who don't like the idea that Jimin and JK are together, they like that V and JK are together, so to disprove that Jimin and JK are together at all, they will say that Jimin is with Song and that he is sleeping with her, and to make the possibility of Jimin and JK dating to be impossible, right? When in reality, none of this is confirmed to be happening. All of this is built off of insanity and delusion. Some people have gone as far as to say that they are waiting for the day that Song and Jimin are seen holding hands. Similarly to the situation that people believe V and Jennie were seen doing in Paris. This whole situation is extremely messed up, because to assume that any of this is happening right now or that anything is going on is beyond crazy, because we know what's driving a lot of these people in these situations to go crazy. It's horrible that people are feeding into these rumors because it feeds the narrative that they want to believe. So there's almost an ulterior motive as to why they start these rumors and why they make them big, because they want their narrative to seem real. But their narrative could also not be real either. Who's to say Jimin can't be dating Song and JK? Like, if you just want to create an imaginary scenario, why is Jimin in that scenario not just polyamorous and dating everybody? Like, we know nothing, right? Like, this is what I'm trying to say. If we're feeding into this delusion, we can say anything, but they want to say something that fits their narrative, right? They want to implement rules that haven't been implemented before. And I'm sure if I were to say if Jimin is polyamorous, they would say, well, no, that's not allowed in Korea, as if dating would be allowed in K-pop. So they just make up these rules in their head. That makes no sense. Also, like, being gay in K-pop is not allowed either. So again, that makes no sense. So believe whatever you want to believe, right? Obviously, I'm not the one to force you to stop believing in anything. But I hope people will think about what they're saying into the world and how these rumors might affect the celebrity that they're talking about. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.